This battle for freedom, for justice, for liberties was bravely carried forth by my predecessor, Senate President Frank Drilon, and I thank him for bringing our ship through turbulent waters into safe harbor. Palakpakan po natin, Senator Frank Drilon. Our LP leaders then and today were prepared to wage lonely battles for their beliefs, suffer humiliation and isolation, and even face imprisonment and death. Citizens looked up to them. The young aspired to be like them. Who can forget the martyrdom of Ninoy Aquino, the miracle of EDSA Juan, and the quiet and enduring courage of President Cory Aquino? I'm truly grateful, ma'am, and humbled that you are here with us today. Who can forget how the Philippine Senate, led by Senate President Jovi Salonga and his fellow liberals, including Kababi Tanyada, held fast to their conviction despite enormous contrary pressure and voted against retaining the U.S. bases. Palakpakan po natin Jovi, Kababi, and all the rest of them. I feel privileged to have seen up close and admired from afar this rare breed of statesmen politicians. The kind that wore their hearts on their sleeve, the kind that believed in the resonance and romance of our history. I was just a young teenager when the bombs at Plaza Miranda shook our country. I was watching the black and white TV screen, and all of a sudden there was this flash and another one. I saw the pandemonium on the stage, knowing that my parents were there. They were there like so many of us here in this hall and so many liberals who made themselves, who exposed themselves, made themselves vulnerable as part of our fight for a better country. One cannot have such intimate recollections of the past and be indifferent to what is going on in our present. One cannot be part of our beloved Liberal Party and ignore the assaults to our democracy and freedoms. Be blind to the subversion of our institutions, the unresolved killings of journalists and activists, the widespread graft and corruption, and the callous sense of impunity held by those supposed to be accountable to us, we the people. Today, one cannot be a true liberal and not be angry. That where the people are thirsty for the truth, facts are withheld. That where the people are keen to engage their government, power is not shared. And where the people express themselves through the ballot, their votes are miscounted. And because people believe their leaders are more preoccupied with self-interest rather than with the genuine public interest, we see and feel the helplessness, the cynicism, the despair, and now even the estrangement of the people from their government. Katedi, an OFW from Saudi Arabia writes, minsan nga iniisip namin kung paano na kaya kami kung wala ang Saudi. Imagine that, a Filipino whose wellspring for his hope is another country. Mahigit 10 taon na rin ako rito at minsan lang ako nakauwi sa Pilipinas. Pero sa mga nakikita ko, lalo pang pahirap ng pahirap ang buhay. Kaya paano pa kami makakaalis dito? Hanggang kailan pa ba kami dito kung walang pagbabago sa ating bansa. Teddy's desperate call for change deserves a sincere response from our nation's leaders. Recently, the World Bank reported that even the social contract in our country is breaking down. This social contract, this most basic bond as between government and the people, stipulates that the people shall obey their government in exchange for their government preserving and protecting their general welfare and fighting for their best interest. What does this social contract mean to Luisito Bustamante of Davao City? He disappeared into military custody, was tortured on suspicion of being a communist rebel. And even then, he was lucky. The RTC, by the writ of amparo, set him free. What about all the other desaparecidos, people like Jonas Burgos, and those whose names do not make it to our newspapers? Save for the martial law years, at no time in our country's history has the Supreme Court been called upon so often to rule on multiple cases of disappearances of persons in the hands of supposed agents of the law. Oras na. It is time for change, time for renewal. You and I must work even harder and with greater urgency to change our country. We have to do it together as a political party and as an organized movement based on values, on ideas, on competence, and on vision. Our party shall be a movement built around fresh ideas. Our first rule is to treat our Filipino brethren with respect as grown-ups capable of making wise decisions and not as children to be amused or pandered to. Magpapakatotoo tayo. Let us call things as we see them. Whenever policy is wrong, we are the party that will say no. But make an honest and determined effort to provide solutions. As important as it is for us to know who done it, for our future, it is even more important to know the how to solve it. Oras na. It is time for change, a time for renewal. Our party seeks to realize nothing less than the hopes of our people, to win back the kind of government that reflects our people's honesty, decency, competence, and hard work, to win our people's trust in the wisdom and prudence of our public institutions, especially in the way these institutions spend their money, to win our people's fair share in the benefits of a growing economy through better jobs, higher incomes, affordable prices, and improved public services, to win our people's fight for justice, security, peace, and predictability in their lives, and to win our people's birthright to lead robust, healthy lives, to be educated, to land a job, to own a home, to breathe clean air and drink clean water, and have an attainable plan for their future. Oras na.